Have you always wanted to walk with the Fellowship while deck building in your game? Then this game is going to be right down your alley, and you should be totally excited right now.
Have you ever wondered what games you should keep or you should lose? Find out here at Purdue.
Lord of the Rings, a deck building game. This is the one on the Fellowship of the Ring. This is going to be a system that's exactly like the DC deck building game. If you already have that game, you probably don't need this one unless you want the exact same game with different pictures. Each player will play somebody from the Fellowship. They'll have a unique power, and you're going to go through, and you're going to have like the cards set up in the center. You're going to buy those cards. There's going to be a villain deck that you're going to try to beat. As you beat those villains, they come into your deck, and they're stronger, and you're going to be playing until all the villains are beat, especially the last villain, and then you'll count up how many victory points you'll have. It's a very gateway-ish. It's very standard deck builder in a lot of ways. There's not a whole lot going on. There are some inconsistencies with the theme itself, with the cards that you're getting. All this one might work a little bit better thematically than the DC deck building, but it is exactly the same game. Now, out of the three Lord of the Ring games, this one is the more basic. In the two towers, you have the wall that you're dealing with, and etc. and other things. In this one, it's the most basic that you're playing through. It's very fun. You're going to have stills from the movies, if you like the stills, which I do. I almost prefer that to the cartoons that they draw. Your mileage may vary, but I like that. Solid game. Now, the reason why I didn't keep this one, because I kept a little bit of the DC so far that I've kept on to. Lord of the Rings is something that like I enjoy, but my kids don't. I think that's who I would play this system with, was my children. And, you know, I'm pushing it with DC. They don't really care for that. Lord of the Rings I've never seen. So this wasn't the Lord of the Rings game to me. Like, Lord of the Ring would be better. There's some other ones out that I'd rather have. So I didn't need a card game version of it. I already have the same game, the DC. So this one's going to be going out the door. So for me, it's going to be a purge. But if you're looking for a light deck building game with the Lord of the Rings universe from the movies on it, this is definitely for you. Here's Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring deck building game by Cryptozoic, 2 to 5 players, age 15 and up. You can have a rule book, which we'll take a look at in a few minutes. You're going to have some character cards in here that you utilize. You're going to get Legolas, Samwise, Gandalf, Boromir, Frodo, Aragorn, and Gimli, the Fellowship, if you will. You're going to get some Arch Nemesis cards. Let's see who the bad guys are. The Moria Swarm, the Balrog, Troop of Uruk-hai, Nazgul, Yulair Nala, Lurtz, Cave Troll, the Witch King, Yulair Kintia, Saruman, the Watcher in the Water, and Yulair Ostera. So those are going to be the ones you have. You're going to have a number of corruption cards, which will be Bilbo. You're going to have, let's see what we got here. You're going to have your Valor card, which are Boromir. These are 2 power, cost 3. You're going to have your Despair, which is 0. These are just going to clog up your deck. Your Courage, and Gimli's Axe. These will be the ones that you get for your starting cards that you'll have. And then you're going to have a huge deck of cards, which will be made up of the cards that people will have that you can purchase as the game goes on. So that's what these cards will be. And you can see there's just a ton of them in here that you'll have. So those will be those. You have a custom insert where things kind of fit in here. This is all wasted space, but it does tell you where everything goes. In addition, you're going to have impossible mode. It does tell you, stop, don't open these until you're very familiar with the game. Lurtz, these are just the same ones you have. They're just stronger and harder to beat, okay? So if you want to play the impossible mode, you can definitely use this set of cards to do so. Here's a rulebook for Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. Black with white font, not great. You're going to have your contents with no pictures and kind of go through here, and the pictures will be over here with explanations of the cards. It's going to be for somebody who's never deck built before. You can have a picture of how the path will be set up, etc., which is really good for anybody who's never done this before. Gameplay will come through, end of your turn and end of game. Then it'll jump into some additional rules that you might see on different cards, and you can kind of learn through this. If you played deck builder before, you're not going to have any problems. There is an explanation of the impossible mode if you want to utilize those, and a clarification of some of the cards, and then if you ever want to keep notes, etc., and then a turn sequence on the back. I found this to be very good, especially for people who've never played a deck builder before. So to start the game out, each player is going to pick a character they're going to want to be. And this character's not going to give you a power, but you set this aside beside you. It's going to give you a card. That'll be the first card that you have. Then you're going to take 3 despair cards. These are just used to clog up your deck. And 6 courage cards. These will each give you 1 power. You're going to have 10 cards to start up your deck. You'll shuffle up your deck. Shuffle it up real good. You draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have 5 cards. This will be your starting hand. Then you're going to set over here the corruption cards. You will have your valor cards. That will also be set up over here. And then you will have your enemy cards that you will have. And these will be shuffled up and put out. And this will be who you're trying to battle as the game continues. We'll get back to those in a few minutes. Then you're going to take your big stack of cards. You'll shuffle these up. And let's set these off to the side. And you'll take 5 of these. And you'll put these out. And these will be the path where you can buy cards from this path as the game continues. And you'll set your discard over here. Whenever you purchase a card, you'll be able to pick that up. So when you set this up, you're going to put Lurtz on the bottom. So as these are defeated, players will gain these. When Lurtz is defeated, the game ends. Or if all the cards are purchased and you can't fill the path up. At that point, you will look here. You have victory points on certain cards. You just count up all the victory points in your deck. Whoever has the most victory points is your winner. To play the game is very easy. Like I said earlier, you shuffle your deck and you have your 5 cards. At this point, you can start buying things. This says +2 power. If there are 10 or more cards in your discard pile, you draw a card. I don't. I don't have any cards in my discard pile. So 2 power. This gives me nothing. So just add up your power. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It gives me 5 power. Each of these cards will have a cost. So I could buy Mary for 3. But I would spend these 5 points. I would pick Mary up. A new card would come out. And let's see here. And then for 2, I could buy Pippin, add him into my discard pile, put a new card out, and then I would draw 5 cards from the top of my deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then the next player would go. Any point I want to, I could try to defeat one of these guys. He gives, it costs 8 to defeat him. This is the amount of victory points he'll give you. But once he's in your deck, he'll also give you powers as the game continues. Now, if I ever run out of cards, shuffle, I'd take my discard pile, I'd shuffle it up, and I would draw 5 more cards. That's called deck building, and that continues until you meet the requirements, and whoever has most victory points is the winner. Who should buy this game? This game is definitely going to be for fans of Lord of the Rings. That's why it was designed. If you need a lightweight deck builder, this would absolutely fit the bill for you. And it could be for you, your children, maybe for your gaming group or whatever. But it's got the Lord of the Ring IP on it, so it's going to be elevated for those that want that IP. For everybody else, I don't know if this is going to be anything for you, but if you're not a fan of the Lord of the Rings, there may be other IPs with the same gaming system that will strike your fancy. For us, it will be a Purge.